Hannah here, coming at you another week with some soup because it is still cold out and soups are nice and warm when the weather is chilly. So this week I'm going to show you my wild rice soup. I am using the béchamel from last week in it. So that's that cauliflower white sauce. It's going to help thicken it up and give it more depth without using cream or milk or any dairy products. And it adds a vegetable to your food, which is great. My wild rice soup is a pretty easy basic soup. It's wild rice, onions, seasoning. Sometimes I'll add tofu in with the broth to give it that creaminess. That's definitely a lighter sauce than the cauliflower bechamel sauce. So if you want it lighter, that's a way you could go if you're okay with soy. You could also mix the two. A little bit of tofu, a little bit of the cauliflower, because the cauliflower you kind of can taste depending on your palate and how much soup you make and how much you put in. Alright, I want to show you the ingredients for some wild rice soup. I've got some wild rice. I actually already cooked it. I did it in the Instapot because it's so much, the Instapot is so much easier for rice and beans than on the stove. I did a whole package, but if you're all make one serving of soup, I would do half this. Then I'm doubling my recipe, kinda. 2 onions, because I'm making 2 different soups. Both wild rice, but you'll see a different base. A package of mushrooms. I usually would do a package and a whole thing, but I only have one. Some spices, garlic, cumin. My lovely pizza seasoning, frozen pizza seasoning, but Italian seasoning works just great. And I'll probably put some pepper in. Vegetable broth, and then for the bases, I'm going to do one with this soft tofu, like how I did the butternut squash, and then I'm going to use the broccoli bechamel that I made and use that for the base of the soup, give it a little creaminess without adding soy or milk. Alright, we're going to throw this stuff on cut up our onions. Mushrooms are pretty much ready since I bought them pre-cut, and we'll start cooking on the stove here in a minute. Start off with your onion and garlic and saute those up. This is like every other recipe I do for the most part. Once those are nice and soft, you can add your other ingredients. I would recommend doing the mushrooms a little bit first. Saute those for a few minutes, then add your broth. If you're adding the tofu in as a cream, save 1 cup of broth. Add the wild rice, spices, and we'll let this simmer for about 20 minutes. Stir occasionally. This is a block of tofu blended with a cup of broth. Just gonna add that right into one of the wild rice soups I made. It's gonna give it a lighter texture and not add much flavor to the soup, but does add a little bit of creaminess. For our second soup, I'm going to add the cauliflower bechamel. I added about half. If you want a thicker soup, you can definitely add more. Just note the cauliflower does show through, but it does add also other flavors to the soup because of what is in the bechamel. I recommend trying this. It was really good. After everything was mixed together well, cook it for another 10 minutes, low heat, stirring occasionally to let the flavors all meld and help it thicken up. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, watching me make this wild rice soup. Maybe you'll make some yourself. It's so good. You can also add different things into it. Leave out the mushrooms, add more. Kind of do whatever you like. Remember, the food I make it because I like it, and definitely feel free to change up what vegetables you use. Most things, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Like in this, I think it would be fine without the mushrooms because I know a lot of people don't like them. But if you do add them in, it adds a great flavor and some little texture differences too, depending on how you cut them up. Alright, I hope to see you next week. Stay safe with everything going on. I am going to work on some chickpea videos using some pantry chickpeas that I have because I bought a lot a while ago and figured I might as well use them since I'm trying to limit how much I'm going out with with the virus that's going around. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.